Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Psychic Charm, and today I'm going to be talking about the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is now on the Toronto Raptors, and Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick are now on the LA Clippers. So we'll go ahead and get started. So this really changes both these teams significantly because the Clippers are now moving on from the Kawhi era, the last remnant of the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George era, besides, I guess, Ty Lue. The Raptors, I think, are really going to try to go for it now. They went for it last season to try to compete. They finished the season as the 5 seed and they played the Cavs to 7 games. This had to be inevitable from the Clippers. I do like the returns they've been able to get in this kind of youth movement and retooling that they're doing. The Clippers, they kind of had to do this. There's no real point in them holding on to Kawhi in the West. Keaton Wagler, you have, who's the 5th pick in the draft. You have Yannick Nienhauser. You have Darius Garland. This isn't a serious team of championship contenders. I don't really know what it is. I think they're going to kind of be like how the Suns were. Maybe they might just be terrible. Who knows? What they got out of it was solid. Brandon Ingram. You get Grady Dick, who might work out for y'all as a shooter, and you got assets. So from the Clippers perspective, I like it. And you might have gotten a bit more than you probably should have for Kawhi at 35 years old. I give them a solid, I think I give them a B+. And for the Toronto Raptors, they really needed, and it was very evident in the playoffs, they really needed a crunch time scorer, and Brandon Ingram was not good for them in the playoffs. They played the Cavs really close, who went to the conference finals. They took that series to 7, and then the Cavs got taken to 7 by the Pistons, and then the Cavs got mauled because they blew like a 20-something point lead in the 4th quarter of game 1 versus the Knicks. But everybody got killed by the Knicks this year, right? Unless you're the Hawks. It really felt like Toronto needed just another guy out there, a guy that was an elite shot creator, because they didn't have that. Scotty Barnes was really doing his all. I mean, he had a great playoff series versus the Cavs, and he, I think, averaged about 8.5 assists as well as shooting the ball well. It really punched it above his weight. I mean, from the Raptors' perspective, I mean, this is just going to make them even better. I mean, you're pretty much just upgrading Brandon Ingram into Kawhi. If you finished top 5 last year, then you might finish higher. The Raptors last year finished with a top 5 defense. I don't really see that changing. I don't see that getting too much better, to be honest, because, I mean, Kawhi, he's going to be like 35 this year. He's not going to be the same defender he was 10 years ago when he was winning Defensive Player of the Years, right? He's not that same level of defensive player anymore, but he's not going to be a negative on that end, especially in the playoffs too. I'm sure he can turn into that guy once again. He's going to have a lot less of a scoring burden with the Raptors because you have Point Scotty. You have, you know, a guy like RJ that can get downhill and get a bucket. Like, this is a pretty well-constructed team. Kawhi last season as well was 9th in total clutch points. This is exactly what they need. The Raptors, I don't know where they will finish in terms of regular season standings. I could see them being like a top 2, top 3 seed. I don't think they'll finish 1. Quickly has struggled, and I believe RJ too has struggled to be healthy, and it's not like they're the deepest team either. I mean, I wouldn't say it's alarming, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily deep. It's a very interesting trade though. I think they're definitely in the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference now. Like, when we sit back and look at things now, I mean, the Celtics have pretty much imploded. They might be a good regular season team, but I don't think this team of Tatum and Paul George and Derek White and Peyton Pritchard is taking you over the mountaintop. I would definitely take the Raptors over them. If they played the New York Knicks, that'd be an interesting matchup because you have a lot of switchable defensive personnel that can really give, say, Karl Anthony Towns trouble, like Scotty Barnes or even Kawhi. You're fine switching that. And as well as, you know, guys to throw at Brunson. You know, you have like an RJ Barrett, you have off the bench a Jamal Shed, you can even throw Scotty at him, or that's gonna be a really good defensive team. If they're to play the Knicks, I think that could be genuinely be a coin toss. Like, we think the champion is gonna be invincible every year going into next season, and how's anyone gonna beat them? Oh my god. We get a year into it and we're like, all right, well, might be somebody else. That's what happened to OKC. That's what happened to the Celtics. That's what happened to Denver. You know, they played Miami. I'm a Heat fan, and that team scares me. I mean, if there was a defender in the NBA that you're like, all right, we need to design a defender, perfect defender to put onto Giannis, that player would probably come out a lot like Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is probably one of the best players to throw at Giannis. And not only that, you have players that can switch too if Scotty isn't guarding him. You have Colin Murray-Boyles. You have Kawhi Leonard. This team is going to be a really great defensive team, and it's going to give, like, they played us in a series. I don't know if we would win that. I would like to think we do, but it's definitely concerning. I mean, they have the defensive personnel to give our guys hell, because we don't really have like a lead guard that's not their strongest defensive position. Is, you know, they don't really have like a Derek White on their team or a Cason Wallace, a guard that you trust to guard other guards. They mostly have forwards. That scares me, and I think they could beat us in a series. And if you kind of go through the rest of the Eastern Conference, they could definitely beat the Philadelphia 76ers. That team looks like it's loaded, but Embiid has not been able to really jump or protect the basket as much as he used to be able to. Maybe he can get back to that, hopefully somehow, but I don't really see it. They have guys to really throw it, like Jaylen Brown now, VJ Edgecombe. They're not an exceptionally deep team either. And really, besides that, I mean, who else is in the East? I mean, there's the Pistons and there's the Hawks, but I don't take them serious as any sort of contenders to win the conference. And even then, they match up with them well. You could throw Scotty on Jalen Johnson, Cade Cunningham, and you're totally fine with that. The Pistons things might go bad for them this year because Jalen Duren might go to the Sacramento Kings. When I look at all that, and I could say you can beat any team in the conference, you have to be an automatic contender. And I think they are. I don't know. It's tricky if I would put them above the Knicks, but they're close. And I'm sure when this regular season is all done, they'll end up a lot closer than a lot of people will think, as well as the Heat and possibly the Sixers, depending on their health. I mean, really, outside of that in the conference, unless I'm blanking on anybody, I mean, they should be like one of the top 3 teams, maybe 4, to win the East, and you have to be a contender at that point. So I absolutely love this trade, and I think that they have a shot to win the East now, and maybe even the NBA Finals if that's the case, because if you get in the finals and you match up with the OKC Thunder, or maybe somehow the Minnesota Timberwolves, or maybe the Spurs, like, I don't hate their chances there. Matchup by matchup, it really depends. I think that this is going to be one of the better teams in the league, and there's not really going to be many holes in the roster. I mean, there's a couple in terms of, you know, their guard depth and whatnot, and what you can get defensively out of that position. I suppose you have RJ, but it's a team I think that can beat any team in the East. But when we get to April, we're going to see that they can be one of these teams that could possibly win the Eastern Conference. So I really like this trade. I think that they could really give any team trouble next year, and I really like this trade. I don't like it with one of my teams maybe having to play them in the conference. Just from their perspective, this is absolutely great. But anyways, that's all I got to say about this. If y'all like the video, like, subscribe, comment, do all that usual YouTube stuff. Y'all will see me in the next video I put up on here. So this has been Psychic Charm. Peace out.